Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. ScorpioCesar here. Today I'm going to bring you a review, a joint review. Thank you for voting on Instagram, by the way, everybody. You saved me a bunch of time. For the NECA Series 13 Alien Wave. Here we have the latest wave, and I got this courtesy of Big Bad Toy Store, courtesy my ass. I had to pay for this, $69.99 for this entire set. It was cheaper this way than buying them individually, at least that's what I remember. I wasn't really going to get Apone because I definitely prefer Apone from the movie rather than his Kenner look, but by the time I realized it was too late to cancel this guy and get these two individually, you get the picture. They were already charged and shipped. Regardless, I'm so happy to have this wave and bring it to you guys. So let's do this review. But first, before we do that, let's just look at the packaging and admire the beautiful Kenner artwork here. That very comic bookish. Oh, I love it. I love it. It's just beautiful. Love the backgrounds for these blister packs. And everything looks fantastic. I mean, just look at the aliens in their packaging. I haven't noticed many QC issues out of the gate, but I did notice that the snake alien, much to my chagrin, has a bit of a warped jaw. I hope that's just how it is in the packaging, because that was the one I was really looking forward to the most. Here are the back sides of the packaging. As you can see, once again, Kenner inspired packaging here, showing off the various waves of Predator and aliens that they've released in recent memory. And some of these you honestly just can't get anymore because they're out of print. Until they decide to re-release them or do some con exclusive. I don't know, I don't care. I have most of these anyways, and yeah, I am really looking forward to the arcade game wave. I noticed that the Scorpion Alien and Sergeant Apone have their own little collectible cards that you can cut out, but no such luck with the Snake Alien. I'm not sure if that's a printing error or the Snake Alien just doesn't get any love there. Regardless, let's gonna get these guys out of the packaging and take a look at what's inside. Apone's head can look left, right, pivot side to side, up and down. His arms can go out that much. However, he's a little bit hampered by all this cybernetic bullshit on this arm, and it actually works pretty well. You can see the mechanism here. That's really cool. It actually goes inward when the arm goes up and comes back out as the arm goes down. So not big problem there, but do note that you are going to get some resistance in that arm when you try to move it up and down, left and right. This arm, everything works fine as intended. There's a bend at the elbow and of course a swivel around the wrist. This wrist, it's a little more complicated because once again, the mechanical engineering here for his arm is that his wrist will turn to a certain degree. However, because of this soft rubber plastic, and thankfully they made it a soft rubber plastic so it doesn't snap too easily, this area will get stressed. Do note that is a problem there. I am having some issues with this bicep as well, just trying to get it to bend. As you can see, there is some give there, but it took a little while to get it to that point. In terms of the waist, you get a little bit of side to side, not much because of these belts here, and you know, it's a little bit of a stiffy. You can't really pivot it side to side either. Around the waist here, not gonna happen. Don't even bother. You can get them to bend forward a little bit and then bend backwards a decent amount. And then for the legs, you get it to kick up that much, kick back that much, get them to spread a bit. You only get a single bend at the knee, haven't been able to get much because of the sculpt starts interfering with that. And for the foot, you get it to kick down that much, kick forward that much, swivel side to side. So I mean, that's pretty much it with Apone. You're not going to get too much articulation out of this guy, but you'll get the bare essentials. So in terms of the sculpt, paint, and details, Apone looks pretty damn good. I do like the design they went with here. I would hope at some point they release a Colonial Marines Apone from Aliens, but you know, that's just wishful thinking at this point. So he's got a nice red cap. His face sculpt looks pretty damn good. He's got a nice looking mustache. I dig the mustache. 5 o'clock shadow. Looks pretty damn cool. Hair sculpted nicely. Eyes, going to be a hit or miss depending on your figure because NECA always has issues with human eyes. You get this really cool microphone slash flashlight, I guess, here on the side of his head that's connected to a band over his hat. That looks cool. Moving down, you get a nice yellow shirt that just says no bugs on it. Real simple, but straight to the point. I like the belt here as well. It's made of a nice soft rubber, so you don't have to worry about these really breaking too much, but do be careful. Of course, you always want to be careful. They are painted really nicely done. Lots of silver paint here and blacks, and I love the weathered look of this armor piece here on his right arm and shoulder. The mechanical details on his cybernetic arm attachment looks so damn cool as well. Do note, you do want to be careful with that. You don't want any of this to break, of course. So yeah, be careful. Pants have a nice dark green. And really, the sculpt is pretty much what you've probably seen before. I'm sure this part is reused. I'm not exactly sure, but on the knee pads, you get some very interesting looking knee pads here. And of course, the shin armor here looks pretty damn good. And of course, those sneakers. Those are some banging sneakers. I'm digging that. But yeah, he's a bit on the simpler side, except when it comes to that cybernetic arm attachment. But overall, he's looking pretty good. Assholes and elbows. Hudson, come here. Come here. So Apone also comes with some accessories. He comes with this combat shotgun with a nice little band to hold on to him. And this shotgun is nicely detailed. There's some metallic paint there used. Metals, grays. Looks really good. I like this. It's even got a scope on there. So reminds me of the guns I used in Call of Duty. Moving on, we have these two grenades on a stick, basically. And yeah, they look kind of interesting, very comic book-ish inspired. What's cool about these is that they also come with these attachments for them, which are bendy wires, by the way. And if you want, you can detach, and I hope I'm doing this right, you can take these bendy wire pieces and attach them to the bottom of the grenade through a hole. With a little luck, and yeah, I mean, I guess that's what their intention was. I could be wrong, but if you do know the correct way to use these, let me know in the comments below. They didn't come with any instructions, so I really don't know. And of course, like all the other NECA Alien Kenner releases, they also throw in a little Dark Horse comic, mini comic. And yeah, it's got a decent little story in there for those of you who are interested in the backstory of Apone. And some information there. I like that they throw these in there. And they even throw in some decals here for Apone and the weapons that he comes with. So if you guys want to use those, that's up to you. I'm probably not. So now we're on to the Scorpion alien, one I was really looking forward to, and it's not hard to see why. Yes, a lot of this may look familiar if you have the NECA Aliens xenomorphs in your collection, but there are a lot of sculpted detail here that has been added for this one in particular that sets it apart from the rest. Let's get into the articulation. So for the head, this alien can of course look down a really good amount. He could look back a bit, but it's not much, no. Do note that these pieces in the back, at least the upper piece, it's on a peg, so, and they're connected together. So you're gonna notice that that's gonna come out very easily. If it becomes an issue, just push it back in there. If it continues to be a pain in the ass, after that, just crazy glue it, god darn it. Of course, the mouth does indeed open, and the inner mouth, of course, likes to just fall out. I wish it was a little more secure in there rather than it coming out like that and just being all floppy woppy, but whatever, get back in there. Deep throat that shit, bit. Close your mouth. Alright, so now that that mouth is closed, let's keep it closed. The arms can go up quite a bit before you get some interference with the sculpt. You can get his arms to move forward that much. You kind of rotate them back. You could probably even do a whole 360 if you want. Luckily, there is some bicep swivel there. You also get a bend at the bicep. For the wrist, you get a swivel hinge combo. That hinge is a little delicate, so definitely be careful. And you also get some finger articulation here for these long fingers. The torso, it may seem a little wonky on mine. It does make a little clicking sound as I turn it too much, but it does move around on that ball joint quite a bit, and you could bend him backwards that much and bend her forward that much. I know I just said him and her, whatever. Moving on, the legs, they can get them spread a good amount, so that's always nice. You can get a little bit of swivel there at the upper leg area. You can even get a swivel here at the knee and a double bend at the knee as well. The leg can also kick forward a good amount and kick backwards that much. And for the feet, you can get them to move forward, backwards, swivel from side to side, and you also get a toe hinge. For the tail, you get a swivel at the base of it. The tail is a bendy wire, as they usually do with most NECA releases for the Xenomorphs. And like I said, and as always, definitely be careful with those tails, because you'd never want it to break on you. Oh dear. Okay, so we saw articulation. Let's move on to the paint details and sculpt, and this is where this figure really shines. As I stated before, most of this alien is a retooling of the popular Alien Xenomorph, and that's not necessarily a bad thing considering how badass it looks now. All the spiky protrusions on the exoskeleton look absolutely wonderful and really make the Xenomorph stand out from the rest. The copper paint really highlights all the little details that would otherwise get lost in the inky blacks. Here, both colors complement each other really well. However, NECA's typical QC issues start to rear their ugly head here once again, at least with mine, where on the right side of the face, it has this glue-like residue on it, and on the tail where you can plainly see the bendy wire won the battle with the rubbery material and has broken free. And these are issues that came out of the box. Another issue is with the tail being so thin and this figure being so tall, using it to support the figure may induce a freaking conniption if you're new to this. Oh, and did I mention, this piece keeps coming off. With a pain in the ass! Crazy glue that shit! At least the rest of the figure looks banging, and come on, give it up for that stinger at the tail tip. That's a lovely touch there. The only accessory that this one comes with is, of course, a little Dark Horse comic. Thrown in there for good measure. And last but certainly not least, the one I was looking forward to the most, the Snake Alien. And first, we're gonna start with the articulation. The head can move left and... What the fuck shit is this? Randy, what did you do? How could you allow this? Yeah. We'll get to that. The head can move left and right. It could go up a really good amount, actually, if you want him to scurry around the floor. And you can get it to look down quite a bit. These mandibles here, really cool how they did all this, really nice. You can get those to move up and down depending on your preference, but get those to move up. You can actually open up the bottom jaw a good amount too. Look at that, wide open. This inner mouth actually can pull out with those mandibles still attached to it, and there's another inner mouth there. Look how long that gets. Jesus Christ, we got the Mandingo of aliens here. Oh my goodness. I love it though. Absolutely insane just how much reach this guy can get out of his mouth. That is real cool. I like that. I think I'm gonna have this alien on my shelf with his mouth open and that protrusion out because of how slack-jawed he is. In the packaging, I could already tell this was bad. This was bad, and it's bad. And I know you could probably take some hot water to that and try to fix it, but nope, that's not happening. Oh, we just discovered some more articulation. Look, you can do this. So cool. All right, moving on. The rest of the body. Now, this is where this alien's a little bit more stiff. You get some articulation here with these, I don't know, you call them spikes or whatever, for it's very Cobra-esque alien. And those can rotate, but do be careful, they're on really small ball joints. You do not want to break those. In the packaging, they come closed up like this. And you just, pull them out. You can manipulate those as you see fit. But like I said before, definitely be careful. You don't want to fuck with those too much. And then, of course, at the base of the tail, you can rotate this xenomorph. And for the rest of the figure, believe it or not, this is all bendy wire. And honestly, I can't see another way they could have done this with this sculpt. They used bendy wire, and I'm okay with that, because despite me having issues with bendy wires in the past, I feel that this tail is thick and sturdy enough to support that bendy wire and make sure it doesn't break or snap, unlike Scorpion over there. And what I love about the base of the snake alien is that you kind of just rotate this tail and just manipulate that bendy wire any way you see fit and get that snake alien to stand. And it's so cool. I mean, he is very top heavy, so you're going to notice that this, yeah, that's going to happen sometimes. Just manipulate the tail in a way where this figure will get supported by it. But overall, it's pretty much what I would have expected from a figure made mostly of bendy wire, and I'm okay with it. I like it. I think it works out pretty well. Just, you know, don't be stupid with it like I am. Alright, despite the slack jaw issue out of the box, let's just say this snake alien is the kind of mix between ugly and beauty that I can certainly appreciate. The sculpt on this design is absolutely insane. They took what Kenner did and bumped up the coolness to the max. The mix of coppers used here on the head sculpt aren't as metallic as seen on the Scorpion alien, but it still looks very striking here. The uses of blacks are highlighted by the use of darker and lighter greens that make the sculpt really pop. And don't get me started on the metallic purple used on the fangs, little claws, and the end of the tail. I simply love it. The sculpt and paint here is simply stunning, and it cannot be understated that out of all the Kenner releases thus far, that includes the wave before this one, that this is my favorite. And of course, the Scorpion alien also comes with his little mini Dark Horse comic book. And here we have the entire wave with a bunch of other figures from my collection, from SH Figure Arts to Mattel to the Hasbro Black Series and Storm Collectibles. There you have it. Take a look. They scale pretty well. I mean, they're pretty big, at least those aliens. Now, most collectors interested in this wave will either fall into one of two categories. Either you grew up with the original Kenner toys and this wave just interests you out of the nostalgia factor alone, or you're like me, you didn't own the original Kenner ones and these designs simply just catch your eye. Regardless of which camp you fall into, I can honestly say that this wave is pretty solid. I mean, come on, these guys are simply too sweet. If I was to rate them, definitely I would have to go with the Snake Alien being number 1, Scorpion Alien being number 2, and of course Apone coming in last. And yeah, my two aliens have some QC issues that really do suck, but you may not have those same problems. My advice is to try to see them in person, if you can, at a local comic book shop or at a Target, rather than gamble with an online retailer like I did. That way you can see whether you have a slack jaw or a defect or whatever. So, are any of you picking up any of these? Or did you own any of the original Kenner toys growing up? Hit me up in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this review, hit the like button and maybe subscribe. Once again, I really appreciate you all tuning in, and don't forget to connect everything, collect everything. Ciao.